Well, Jax, just sort of, can you take us through what that one meant? Just your emotions going through that, the match itself, just what'd you feel of it?
I mean, it was surreal, wrestling somebody who's, that high caliber and just feeling like in that flow state where I'm just like, everything I'm doing is, perfect timing, perfect amount of strength, everything, where it just felt like I was, really like, that was like the best version of myself, which is like what I strive for. And, last week I wasn't where I wanted to be. And then this week, just that happening leading up to, Big 12s and then NCAAs, it's just surreal. It's awesome.
Has anybody ever put names on some of the moves that you do?
I mean, people try to, but it's weird. They call me the squirrel here, and that's kind of, I just find my ways in and out of positions.
You pick your entrance sloan?
Yeah, that was one there. I was going into Who's Number One my freshman year, and I didn't know what to do. So I just sat down with my mom and dad, and that's what it was, and it's been Funky Town ever since then.
Konner, can you talk a little bit about his career and how it just evolved so quickly to where he's at now?
Yeah, I think seeing Jax train through the summer, getting to come here in the summer a little bit, and then going to Croatia with him and stuff, I just really got to see him grow. And then the rumor started twirling that he was coming, and he got here, and I just seen him grow a lot in these last couple weeks. Everybody knows he's a good wrestler, but just seeing him get to experience some things for the first time, and the way he's taking being in school and wrestling in front of these crowds and going on the road. It's super awesome to see a young guy just, treat himself like a professional. It's pretty special.
Konner, what was today like for you for the emotion of your victory?
Yeah, it was crazy. It felt like a normal match. Match day, everybody always asks me, like, well, this is your last time? I was like, it doesn't feel like my last time, And then right before my match, I seen they put out the other guy, and then just, had to get ready to roll, and really didn't hit me until after the match was over. Hit the OSU and kind of got choked up a little bit, but I'm never gonna forget wrestling in Gallagher-Iba. It's one of the greatest things I've ever done. So
It sort of felt like a maybe near fall. Did you know that you pinned him whenever you pinned him?
yeah, I just kind of had like a little Navy ride, or it really wasn't even a Navy ride. Just kind of picked up his leg and he kind of rolled over, and I just tried to hold him on his back for a quick near fall, and he kind of relaxed for a second, so I just kind of stacked him on his head, and I don't know, it wasn't really a very good pinhole, but it worked out.
Konner, we've talked with David about this at length, but just obviously being a multi-year starter and then sitting out a year, just talk about what sitting out that year taught you, and just how you've grown this year, and what it's felt like being back.
Yeah, sitting out was hard. I was happy to do anything I could for the team, happy for Wyatt. I loved getting to train with him and getting to be there and see him win the Nationals. I couldn't be more happy and proud of him, but just getting back in the lineup this year just is, everything I strive for and everything I want to do. So yeah, it just made me really hungry, and I just worked really hard last year and made the best of not wrestling. It's never great when you don't get to wrestle, but there was a lot to learn from, and that's what I try to do, and just get ready to roll this year.
Did working under Wyatt help you out, do you think?
Yeah, a lot. I still get to wrestle. I get to go to RTC practice and wrestle Wyatt, once, twice a week, and then wrestling with Coach Taylor 2-3 times a week, and Cody Merrill. There's not a place in the world where you can wrestle, somebody like Wyatt, and then you get Coach Taylor, and then you get the defense of Cody. Like, truly got some of the best training partners in the world. So I just know when I step out there that I'm ready for anything.
The enthusiasm you showed when you were asked about Jax and you were talking about him, you've kind of done that with some of the other younger guys throughout the course of the year. How do you look at yourself? I know you've talked about being the old man, but like a big brother to all these guys, because you are, and you can tell Jax kind of looks at you, with that respect factor.
Yeah. I'm a little older than these guys, and when I came in, there were some older guys on the team, but I think the biggest thing is I got a little brother. I got two little brothers, but one's 10 years younger than me. He's 15, just turned 15. So, like, I've always, grew up being older than him and just kind of, like, understanding that, he does look up to me and just kind of understanding it a little more than just being like, 1 or 2 years older than them. So I don't know. It's just really good practice for me when I was younger, having a little brother like that. So it's really just like the same thing. I got, 15, 20 little brothers again, and it's, just get to mess with them and kind of they keep me young. So.
It's kind of the same question. What about his leadership, and what has that meant to such a young squad?
Yeah, obviously, Connor's like the old man. He's our only senior. We're bringing everyone back last year. So, Troy's the next oldest. And so Konner, he takes that role really well. After last week, the duel, we were like not as enthusiastic as what we need to be. We kind of let the momentum shift. We were away. And Konner just reminds us like after the match, like, hey, these big guys, we need you guys too. Just as much as we, build you guys up, you guys got to build us up too when we're coming in. And then today, after, we have a week off before Big 12s, he's telling us making sure we getting our schoolwork done, staying on top of those things that, you can fall behind on easy. And just the leadership is, it's awesome. It's something that's really helped me out in school, on the mat, off the mat, just with life. And so I'm just really grateful to have Konner
We got a
on
class
team with
together
us.
too.
Yeah, we do. We got a couple, so.
What's it called?
How'd you do that?
I already graduated, so I get to go back to some easier classes.
It's like orientation and student athletics or something. So that's good.
You wrestled in the Worlds and Senior Open, and you've been around Wyatt some, so you know the sacrifice he made to help Wyatt. Do you think the rest of the team realizes how selfless he is?
No, definitely not. It's just when you do something like that where, you're sacrificing, or not necessarily sacrificing, but just postponing your dreams and then being there each step and not really competing and then seeing him accomplish that and then going overseas with them is, it's unbelievable. And, I'm lucky because I'm kind of fortunate enough to have Dayton, who's doing the same thing with me right now. Obviously, he's done in college, so he warmed me up today. He traveled overseas with me over the summer. So I kind of see, I know what Konner did because of Dayton and how much Dayton sacrificed to be with me. Obviously it was that, and then with the whole NCAA season. So I can only imagine how much long days where it's like I want to compete, but I'm sacrificing and postponing my dreams for a little bit.
A lot of guys kind of don't do that in this era with transfer portal and other options. Some people just, maybe graduate, move on, whatever. What made you decide to keep going here?
Yeah, I love wrestling and I love Oklahoma State. That's the big thing. This is where I want to be. So I couldn't see myself wrestling anywhere else, and I wanted to wrestle. And then I think just my parents, raising me pretty hard nosed and not running from things when things get hard. You can't just tuck your tail and run all the time. So just sticking with it, and maybe it sucks in the moment, but nobody needs to put their head down and pout. You just put your boots back on and go to work and figure it out.
Konner, first time beating Iowa since you joined the team.
Yeah.
That crowd, I don't know, are you able to sort of just appreciate, I know you sort of talked about it hasn't really hit you yet, but to be able to be a part of a win like that in front of an atmosphere like that, what does that mean?
Yeah, I was here when Nick blew the roof off this place, so I've seen it before. But I just think what Coach Taylor said is we're striving to be the best we can be every day, and we're not surprised by much. I think we all expected this is the way it should go. I think maybe if anything, it surprised us earlier in the year when we did get beat. We're better than that, and so that's what we expect to do every time. People go out, score bonus points, have fun, get the crowd involved. So it's not really about Iowa or OU or Iowa State or anybody. It's really us against us. We're competing against each other. Who can get the most takedowns? Who can get the fastest pin? Who can get the most bonus points? That's who we're competing with. So we push each other.
Jack, are you able to look at the big picture right now of sort of what you're doing, or do you just sort of have to move on to the next thing because of everything's coming so fast right now?
I try not to. Obviously, I get moments where I'm like, this is pretty crazy. But I think just trying to stay present, just obviously tonight I'll be with my family and I'll be like, that was awesome. If I wrestle like that, there's no one who can stop me. But then it's just getting back to work tomorrow, focusing, not letting my head get too big, not letting the moment get to me too much where, that was awesome. That's a great feeling. He's someone who I could see in March again. So it's I'm not going to let him gain any ground on me. I'm going to get back to work. And then Big 12 champs, the only thing I'm thinking about right now. Going in there, dominating, winning the team title, getting all 10 guys, through, winning the team title, and then NCAAs is going to come, and that's going to be my big thing.
Jax, do you have somebody, I mean, obviously you're trying to do that yourself. Do you have somebody you kind of trust in your life to kind of constantly kind of be in your ear and remind you, don't look too far ahead, don't get too big-headed, as you said?
Yeah, there's so many people, and that's why, I committed Oklahoma State and then came early because, I was here over the summer. So someone like Coach David, like Coach Lee Roper, Coach Zoe, Dayton, all 4 of those guys, I trust those guys with about anything, where if they tell me some advice, then it's, I truly believe it. And whether it was I come here and I'm struggling, not the classes, everything's just getting a little too big, then I would have been like, all right, you guys are right. I'm not going to, get a big head and think I'm better than them and this is what I need to do. And that's something that I salute Konner to, because that's what he did last year. He realized, this is bigger than just me. My time's going to come. And then, just getting back to work and getting better.
David, just sort of what are your big takeaways from the duel?
I just think the very first thing I'd like to do is just thank the fans. We've kind of talked about this, we articulated this vision of what we want this place to be or become or, reignite. And I hear stories about what this place has been like in the past, and to see it come to fruition in a short period of time is pretty awesome. So it's not easy for people to take time out of their day to come and come do something like this. And the energy is just getting better. The momentum is continuing to grow, and it's just special. I've been to a lot of wrestling matches, and I've been in some great environments, but there is nothing like this place. The love, the excitement, the energy. We talked about making it a show and something that people are going to remember this. In these opportunities, these matches, not maybe the score or what it is, but just the memory of being a part of this, being a part of something special. So I thought that was awesome. I thought our guys wrestled pretty dang good, but we'll just keep getting better.
Yeah, like you said, the environment, the people, the fans did their job, the media or the marketing people did their job. Daniel Cormier did his, but the biggest job tonight was done by those wrestlers. That was what Vega did, really turned the place on its ear, don't you think?
Yeah, we got 10 guys, and I love going to battle with these guys. It's fun. It's exciting. It's entertaining. Sometimes you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but something cool's coming, And, I think it was great, that beginning, those first 3 matches really set the tone. Proud of those guys. It takes courage to go out and do those things. It's easy to stand around. That's been the biggest messaging to our team is you can stand around and be like everybody else, or have a little vulnerability and be willing to make some mistakes and wrestle through them, and some awesome things happen. Sergio tried 4 cradles that didn't work, and he got his 5th one, and that was good. He just kept making little adjustments. You got to remember, just a freshman, he's got however many matches, 15 matches in his career, and he's still learning, and he made some good adjustments in that match.
You left before he spoke to us on Wednesday, but when he was asked, I don't know, it may have been Marshall, asked him, what do you expect on Sunday? He said, I expect it to be loud and fun, paused, and some confetti.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like calling your shot.
Yeah. These guys are competitors. The pin phase up there for a reason. It's a motivator. You get a pin, you swag surf, starts rocking. It's like, man, this is cool. This is fun. People are going to dream to wrestle in this environment. These guys look forward to wrestling in this environment. And, it's good. I think he knew what he wanted to do, and he found a way to get it done. It's pretty awesome.
Zach Ryder coming back, and then can you explain to us what happened?
It was a stall call. It's a great stall call. Honest, I don't know. We talk about this every week, but I thought Zach did a good job. I just was really proud of him, he's had an up and down season, and he's lost some close matches, and the messaging this week was just have presence, and expect the end result. Maybe it's going to be ugly and whatever, and I just thought he's made very good, calm presence, fought off that takedown, the messaging for him to wrestle was a couple days ago, and he didn't ask any questions. All right, if that's what you think's best, I'm ready to roll. And, it was good. It was a hard match. Those are matches this year that he's fallen short in. And, you know, the way the call is on the edge, if you're on the edge, if you kick and turn out of bounds, it's a stall. You know, that's what the rule book is. So, you know, like a lot of guys are good on the edge, but they, you know, sometimes it burns you. And Zach did a good job. If guy kicks, you fall him out of bounds, stall call, you know, and it takes some courage to make that call, you know, but the guy did it. That was a good call. But I felt like he earned it. I think Zach was the aggressor the whole match, and I think it definitely plays a factor in there.
David, you mentioned the memories for these fans. You had, I think, 7 redshirt or true freshmen in the lineup tonight. How much can the memories of what happened tonight build momentum in the postseason? I know you talk about young guys getting better. Is this just another stepping stone for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knew that this was like a big match today. You know, everyone in the whole country knew it. But for our messaging this week with the team, it's just like this is another opportunity to go wrestle and, you know, like talk to the guys like this is a special group. Like go be able to showcase your abilities. You know, I thought they did that. And yeah, we do have a young group. But this young group has a lot of belief, and that's what you need sometimes. You just need some belief. And even so we had some ups and downs, but guys rebounded, you know. So I mean, it's a team effort. This isn't a perfect sport. It'll never be perfect. It's always going to be hard. And but no, I think we got a lot of momentum, and we just got to refocus and get ready for what's coming next.
We don't have to ask you about 133 anymore, which I'm pretty stoked about. But just what did you think of Jackson's match and just sort of the process that he's taken to get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's it really, you know, for Jax, it's been, you know, it's been a crash course, you know, to this, and it's just him believing in what he wants to go do. You know, he's got a lot of skills, and he's learning how to kind of put them all together, and just showing like his maturity from last week to this week, both really tough opponents, and he's just learning how to navigate things, you know, how to have that balance of calmness and a little bit of chaos, you know, and but that's what makes him unique. And it makes it really hard. You just makes it really hard for people to wrestle him. So he's just got to continue to keep working, keep evolving, and you know, now some really fun stuff is looking forward.
It's hard to learn lessons through defeat. What can D take away from tonight's match?
You know, I think D. It's kind of maybe a similar lesson maybe for Cody Merrill last week. You know, like he's won a lot of close matches and. But when you do that, you know, sometimes the other side of it is you do fall a little short, you know, and I think he's wrestled a lot of really tough opponents, and, you know, to have that type of focus the whole time, that's a challenge, you know, and but you know, his perspective is good, you know, I think he has a good perspective, and, you know, never one time our messaging is never anything about records, it's about just trying to get better at wrestling, and, you know, he's a competitive guy. I know he hates to lose. So I think, you know, when we work on some of those scenarios, they'll probably be a little more meaningful to him. But he's looking around. That young group, they had their arms around him. They were picking him up, you know. I'm sure they had some positive messages, probably some other messages for him. And that's what makes this young group, you know, pretty special. Like they're there for each other.
We talked earlier in the week about kind of your understanding of what this rivalry is. But when you hear the kind of stuff we were talking about when you first came in, most points ever scored by Oklahoma State in this rivalry, biggest win since 1961. What do those things mean to you at this point?
You know, I think there's probably a few different ways that I can answer that question, but honestly, it's just, dude, we're just trying to get better. You know, like I think this is not a surprise to anybody in our room. You know, this is what we're striving to do. We're striving to be the best program in the country. You know, you have to wrestle up to the challenges. And I think this year we've wrestled maybe down to our opponents. We wrestled up to our opponents. You know, I think, and that's what happens when you have a pretty challenging schedule. But you just have to continue to expect to go out and wrestle with that type of intention and continue to push it. Good things happen. Really proud of the guys. And this is a moment in time, and tomorrow it'll be over, and we'll on to the next thing. There'll be another news line, you know. But for today, it's pretty cool. You know, it's a pretty cool thing.
You feel like this is sort of a measuring stick for what your team's done when you consider you lost Iowa at the beginning of the season and kind of rebounded and won like you did today?
I mean, I think every day is a measuring stick. You know, we really just kind of focus on being a little bit better. You know, each day, that's the focus. And you know, I think this week we probably played more jungle ball than we did maybe wrestling. You know, we did play a lot of jungle ball, so maybe that's what we did. We got to keep doing that. But no, I just think this group is a very light group. They joke around, you know. They're pretty calm and they're confident. And yeah, we just got to keep focused on getting better. You know, I just will tell you it all the time, and I'll say that every single time. Even when we win the Nationals and, you know, things are awesome here, the next day is going to be focused on getting better. You know, we have a lot of ways to go to get there, and that's what we're working towards. This is all just a step in the process, but, you know, our goal is to be the best program in the country, and we just have to keep working on that.
I don't know how much jungle ball will be involved, but you got a little bit of a period here between now and March 6th and 7th in the Big 12s. Any concerns about, you know, can you take this momentum and carry it to Tulsa?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, we'll just keep getting better, you know, like just this, it doesn't change. These guys can go back to practice and they got to go wrestle with each other, you know? So, like, they got to get better every single day. They got to be ready to match the intensity of their peers. And yeah, you know, I think still focusing on what's coming. You know, again, like this is, I think it'd be a mistake to just look at this moment and think this is a success. Like, this is great, but we still have things moving forward that we're setting our eyes on, and we just got to keep resetting and getting ready for that.
Swiderski came out was announced but didn't wrestle. Is he pretty close to being back?
He is really close. You know, today truly was like a game time decision with Casey. You know, he tweaked his knee in the Iowa State match, and you know, he wanted to be back this week, and kind of just sat down with him and just like, hey, where do you feel? He's like, kind of talked about it, and he'll do anything. He would have wrestled if I asked him to, but I felt like for him, the best thing for him, like for the team, like I wish he was out there. You know, I wish Casey was out there because I know he wanted to be out there, but I just think it's better for him. Like he truly probably felt he's 1 week away from being really good, you know. So it's just like, hey, this is bigger vision, you know, bigger picture, and you know, it's great to have a guy that understands that. And I love that he wanted to wrestle, but tonight wasn't the right. But he'll be back and he'll be ready to scrap. He had a good week of training this week, but I think a little more time was in his benefit.
David, you started off thanking the fans for coming out today. For the season long, you beat the attendance record you set last year by, I think, over 1,600 fans. What's that like to hear that?
It's awesome. I mean, it's just to be at a place that loves wrestling and cares about wrestling, and it's meaningful to come and support it. Like, that's awesome. And we're going to continue to set that bar high. I mean, the goal is to sell out every single match that we wrestle, you know, and that comes with demand, and that comes with, you know, having an exciting product, which we're working on doing every day. And, yeah, I mean, our bar's set a little higher. And Detrick, our marketing guy, I told him this year that we were going to break the record again. And he goes, I don't know, man. It's pretty hard. And he goes, if we break the record, I'll get a Pokes Wrestling tattoo. He already got one before this week because he knew that we already sold it out. Got a tattoo on his leg. So I don't know what next year. Maybe we'll have to bump that incentive up a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it's continuing to challenge people to do it. But I think, you know, it's exciting.
Did you know you'd have support in that area when you came into OSU? Because the promotion, the product you guys put out there is a little bit different than what we saw before that. Was that something you guys talked about coming in here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a, you know, I believe a lot in, a lot of things, but I think the goal was to make wrestling more than just a wrestling match, you know, and I think that's been in the works, and sometimes people got to see it before they believe it, and slowly over time we've been kind of showing that, and then it all starts to come together. But I think it's we got a pretty special thing going on here, and we got to keep finding ways to innovate. You know, people, it's a game of I don't know what the phrase is, but you know, other people will try and mimic what we do, and if they can maybe pick it up, we're 3 steps ahead. We got cool things coming next year too, you know. So we'll just keep pushing it and making this a really special place for people to want to come watch wrestling, and it's a lot of fun.
You mentioned in the past how Cody's sort of a fan favorite out there. Just how cool was it to see him go be aggressive in front of DC and to get that pin?
Yeah, it's cool. You know, like DC's been a big part of his life, and you know, he was pumped for him, and you know, Cody's growing a lot. You know, he's grown a lot this year, and came out like a buzzsaw, which was awesome to see. And I think he's shown, man, if he goes and gets that first period takedown, I mean, it changes a lot for him to go get a couple and just continue to build. It's tough because at the same time, like, we have a really high standard for this group. Yeah, we do. I believe in these guys. I believe we have a great team. But on the other hand, they are still young guys. They're only 14, 15 matches in their career, so they're learning. They're learning how to figure things out and what a warm-up's going to feel like and what to expect. What happens when I hit the lung burn, you know, when I'm a minute in. Like, they're learning all that stuff. You know, Cody's learned those things throughout the year, and proud of him, you know, especially the last two guys, Konner and Cody, to go out and finish the way they did. That was a great thing, and just got to keep that momentum because we're going to need some bonus points like that from those guys in the postseason.
A couple more from Coach.
This is totally off the topic, but you're an Olympic champion. Did you notice at all what the hockey team did today?
They won gold, right? Yeah. So that's
2-1 and sudden victory.
Yeah.
You can understand that language.
the rider special. No, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when you represent the United States, there's a deep appreciation for the difficulty to do that, to get to that level, and to be in a moment like that and to persevere. That's pretty dang special. Yeah, it's awesome.